The relation between the dielectric constant and the electronic polarizability has been derived by Clausius and Mussotto together, named after Clausius-Mussotto equation. Now, to derive this relation, let us try to consider a solid dielectric material having a dielectric constant epsilon r. Let this material has n number of molecules per unit volume, and let mu be the dipole moment of every dipole present in the material. Therefore, I can say the net dipole moment per unit volume of the material is given by n into mu, because mu is the dipole moment for one molecule into number of molecules, which will give you the net dipole moment per unit volume. And by definition, dipole moment per unit volume is nothing but the polarization. Therefore, polarization is equal to n into mu. But what is mu? Mu is the dipole moment. Suppose alpha E is the electronic polarizability of the above material, and EI is the internal electric field of the material, then the product of alpha into EI is given by the dipole moment. Therefore, the above equation, polarization, I can write it as equal to n into mu, where mu is nothing but alpha E into EI. Therefore, I can write EI is equal to P divided by n into alpha E. I'll write the equation number 1. Now, this equation is going to give you the total internal electric field, which is due to the applied field and due to the dipoles surrounded by a dipole, given by P divided by n into alpha E. But by definition, the net polarization of any given material is always been calculated as epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 into E. That is by definition, where E is the applied electric field. If I can write the applied electric field is equal to P divided by epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1. I write that is the second equation. Now we have just derived the equation for the net internal electric field as per Lorentz. He derived the equation as EI is equal to E plus gamma into P divided by epsilon naught, where I mentioned P is the polarization, gamma is a constant of proportionality, and E is applied field. Therefore, what I do is that I substitute the first and the second equation in the third equation. Therefore, I can write EI from the first equation is P divided by n into alpha E, which is equal to E as per the second equation, P divided by epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 plus gamma P divided by epsilon naught. Here P is a common term, get cancel each other. Therefore, I write 1 divided by n into alpha E, which is equal to 1 divided by epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 plus gamma divided by epsilon naught. If I can rewrite this above equation, I can write here 1 by n into alpha E. Here I can try to take epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 is a common term. Therefore, nothing is remaining here, but epsilon naught already there. Therefore, I can write plus gamma into epsilon r minus 1. But we know, as for Lorentz, for a 3-dimensional equation, gamma has been calculated as 1 by 3. Therefore, I can write the equation as 1 divided by n into alpha E, which is equal to 1 plus 1 divided by alpha epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 plus 1 by 3 into epsilon r minus 1 divided by epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1. So, if we rewrite this equation, the above equation where epsilon naught can be brought here, divided by n into alpha E, which is equal to epsilon r plus 2 divided by 3 into epsilon r minus 1. Or rearranging the above equation, we can write epsilon r plus 2 divided by epsilon r minus 1, which is equal to 3 into epsilon naught divided by n into alpha e. Or I rewrite epsilon r minus 1 divided by epsilon r plus 2, which is equal to n into alpha e divided by 3 into epsilon naught. This relation is called the Clausius-Musotto relation. This relation brings a relation between electronic polarizability and the dielectric constant. Now let us try to see what are the different types of polarizations, dielectric materials, and their applications. So first I'll try to see the type of dielectrics. Now based on the materials, the dielectrics are being classified as three. One is called the solid dielectrics. Second one is called as a gaseous electric. And the third one is called as a liquid dielectric based on its state. These are the three different types of dielectrics we have. Now naturally, solid dielectrics are solid in nature. Take the example of mica or porcelain or maybe paper. They all belong to the solid materials. They are solid in nature. Hence they are being named as a solid dielectrics. This is the one kind of materials which we are using, and all these are insulating materials which have got variety of applications. The second kind of materials are gas. They are gaseous in nature. With the example of carbon dioxide is a gaseous dielectric. It is a insulator. One more is SF6 is also a dielectric because they are gaseous in nature. And the third one is called liquid dielectrics. They are liquid in nature. Might have heard about transformers, oil, transformer, oils, or some type of alkanes, or even purified water. It is also one of the liquid dielectric. Now why do we use all these dielectrics in applications? The major application of the dielectric, whether it is solid, gaseous or liquid, either it is used in the case of transformers or it is used in the case of capacitors. Solid dielectrics are used both in transformers as well as the capacitors. Where in the case of a capacitor, we have two metallic plates and in between a dielectric is been added so that the dielectric capacity of the capacitor can be enhanced. We are aware capacitance of a capacitor is given by epsilon naught into epsilon r into A divided by D. By increasing this dielectric constant, we are able to enhance the capacity of a capacitor. That is why we generally use solid dielectrics between the two plates of a capacitor so that the charge holding capacity can be enhanced. But solid dielectric can also be used in the case of transformers. In the case of a transformer, we have a primary coil and we have a secondary coil. And in between the primary and as well as the secondary, there is some kind of dielectric being used. Now this dielectric being an insulator, it separates between the primary coil as well as the secondary coil. There is a reason that solid dielectrics are being used. But when it comes to the large transformers have got large voltage. And due to this, there is electric breakdown, what is called dielectric breakdown, and hence the gas also going to become the conductors. But if we use, in the case of a large transformer, the solid dielectrics, where there is a large amount of air gap going to be present here, where that air gap may quench and lead into electrical discharge, which is a little dangerous. That is why in such kind of transformers, where these transformers are being filled in the either in the liquids, in the water, in the liquids, or in the case of gases, where these liquid as well as the gases can penetrate to any internal region so that there is no kind of electric discharge that is going to take place. In the case of large transformers, all these transformers are being filled with the liquids, where the liquids are going to do the dual job. The first job it does is that it acts like a dielectric. That is the first thing, that it acts like a dielectric. And the second job it does is that it also acts like a coolant, because during a continuous usage of this transformer, there is a large amount of heat that is going to be generated. And that may increase the pressure and may destroy the transformer or burst the transformer. To avoid it, the dielectric can also be used as a coolant, so that these coolants absorb the heat continuously and generate the heat out of the transformer. So this is how the dielectrics are used as a insulators between the transformers or in the plates of a capacitor, where those transformers as well as the capacitors have got infinite applications in terms of in electrical networks, or maybe in terms of electrical fields. So this is all about the topic in dielectric properties of the materials. Thank you.